While we may believe removing children from abusive homes is a fine gesture to protect a child, we have learned time and time again that this is not always the case. Children are very often taken from caring parents who hit a rough patch in their lives. They are put in foster homes where they're at a high risk of being sexually abused, neglected, or in extreme cases, murdered.
I've been speaking for quite a while now. The foster care system is in crisis because of issues just like this. There are more children flooding in the foster care system.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that at least 1 in 7 children in the U.S. have been abused or neglected. This raises an important question. How can we fix a system designed to protect the vulnerable? On September 22, 2022, South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster signed a bill allowing the Department of Social Services to place children with relatives who do not have a foster care license. The bill's mission is to reduce the trauma children experience from being separated from their parents and maintain familial relationships.
We have a lot of children that go into DSS custody, and the problem is we don't have a lot of foster parents, but we have families that are actually these children's, like maybe their grandmother or their aunt or their even someone that they may go to church with that's like an aunt or a grandmother, and we call those fictive kin.
The American Bar Association reports that kinship caregivers are more likely to come from socioeconomic backgrounds and have household incomes below $20,000 than foster parents.
And, then there's 3 more children. You just can't afford it. Well, with this new legislation, they can become, foster parents first, and they can get the same payout that a foster parent would get.
There's a lot of nonprofits in the Richland County area alone that collect things like gift cards for the holidays, or we had clothing drives and ways to give extra resources to foster parents, because you don't make money as a foster parent, right? It costs a lot of money to raise a child. And while the agency does provide some reimbursement for a monthly rate, it's very difficult.
The reason I looked at foster care is that it's a microcosm. It's a sample set that we have pretty extraordinary data around to date, even though we can't seem to fix it. It's a microcosm for what happens when displacement happens abroad as the unintended consequences of our actions or inactions in the rest of the world.
A similar approach was used in San Diego County. In 2018, Social Services took Tyler James Walter, a 22-month-old boy, from his mother's home. The police arrested her for drug possession and alleged child abuse. She pleaded guilty to the charges without serving time. Despite her concerns, the state placed Tyler with a relative, his mother's 19-year-old niece, in Long Beach, California. 2 months after living with his foster parent, Tyler died as a result of a bloodhead trauma. The manner of his death was unclear.
There are parents that are still going to abuse their children. There are people in society that are still going to do wrong things, because if there weren't, we could do away with DSS completely.
Some advocates say that placing Tyler with a young relative wasn't the best decision. According to JAMA Pediatrics, children in foster care are 42% more likely to die in the general population. Furthermore, researchers found that between 2003 and 2016, the mortality rate for foster children remained steady.
We've got to first come together in all states and talk one language, and that is the safety of children in the system. The second thing that we must do is we must absolutely set these children up for financial success.
Jaden Carter was one of many children in youth care homes.
To improve it would to be checking out their people more and checking how they would act with certain situations. With my situation, mine was like one that didn't need to be escalated to the point to where it was.
In 2019, there were 400,000 children in foster care alone. Of this population, 40% were under the age of 6 and spent an average of 18 months, while 14% spent more than 3 years in the system.
Honestly, it was just so terrifying because my parents, I didn't get to see them for basically a year, if not a little over a year. And I missed out on my brothers and sisters' birthdays due to it.
Each of you, anybody can do this, can contact their local liaison to see what they need, how they can help. Maybe they need something as simple as mentors to talk to these students or to connect them with.
What I'm saying is give them a safety net. Give them help for their first month's rent, maybe a deposit on a car. Just give them the fact of what we would give our own children.
I think there needs to, they have such a huge caseload, so sometimes it's kind of hard for them to even, I guess, meet the requirements that's needed to be able to care for all those children. But I feel as if they need to be more, they need to be paid more. Maybe that would be, they're more willing to go extra and beyond.
Since many people only hear one side of the story, it is essential to educate the public. We should push for the creation of programs to help children with mental health issues, and most importantly, our social workers need proper training and support to be able to deal with tough situations.
There's a lot more to come on children's issues, and there always will be, because people are always coming up with new and evil things to do. So we just have to stay on top of them and see if we can't stay ahead of them.